Hi, this is Everett. Welcome to Simply Drawing with Everett tonight. Welcome back to all of you that are checking in and checked on. I'm broadcasting live to YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and later on into Twitch and Instagram. And I'm in my studio tonight, live broadcasting with my wife Gloria,
Hello.
and she'll be checking the broadcast as usual, and also checking the chat room. The chat room's live, so if you have any questions or comments, give me a buzz, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If this is the first time you've logged on or seen my program, give me a like and give me some thumbs up, and also give me some comments. I'd appreciate that. It all helps with my ratings. Okay. Tonight we're going to do a drawing exercise, and what I thought I'd do is I'm going to talk to you a little bit about setting up a still life, how I set it up, and give you a few pointers on possibly how to do a better job at it. I've been doing still lifes for quite a while, and taking proper photographs and lighting and so forth. So I'm going to go through that a little bit, and I'm going to go through part of the still life with you and show you my drawing, and then show you a couple hints on how I finish up. So let's go to my drawing table and let me get started. Here's my drawing table, and I've got, let's see, I got the wrong camera on. All right, go to my close-up camera. Here we go, that's better. All right, sorry about that. Okay, here's my drawing subject here tonight. It's an old milk, looks like a milk container, milk pitcher, metal, made out of metal, and a couple round objects. Got a small round object and a larger round object, okay? And so when I set up a still life, what I try to do is I try to pick at least 3 items, a minimum of 3 items. That way you got a little bit more interest in the subject, and also how to set it up. Also, I make sure I overlap the subject so there's some relationship with the shapes, and also gives you a little more unity with the shapes and so forth. They don't have to be all alike. They can all be different. Like this is completely different subject matter. And so forth. Also, the lighting is important. You want to get a nice shadow pattern. In this case, you see the shadow on the tabletop and also against the wall. Get a nice shadow pattern. That makes a nice subject matter all by itself. So those are the pointers I have for you: is to set up nice and simple, and then have an interesting angle and interesting shadows and lighting. So what I'm going to do now, and also I'm going to show you how I simplify the composition a little bit. If you look at the photograph, what I look at, and this is now what I have in my material now. I've got a piece of drawing paper, 8.5 by 11. I got a 4B pencil to draw with. I've got a sighting pencil, a 2B, yellow 2B, or yellow number 2 pencil for sighting, making some measurements and so forth. And I've got a blending stump over here, and I've got a little blending pencil, which got like a 2B lead in it for blending and shading. And I got my old standard kneaded eraser over here. Okay. All right. So what I do is, let me give you a couple ideas here. I looked at this picture when I took it. I like the shadow pattern. I like the shapes and so forth. But to simplify it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just draw part of it. So what happens is I can really cut the picture in half. I got this side over here with interesting shapes, and I've got another shape over here. This is dark against light, and over here I've got light against dark. Really, I can break this up into 2 separate sections. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the left section over here, the one with the picture on, and the 2 objects here, 2 round objects, and that's what I'm going to draw against the dark background. Okay. So that's the way I would simplify: is don't try to draw the whole thing at one time. Just take part of it and start. Also, I want to get some angles. So this angle here is a straight angle, the one divide. So I'm going to start with something like that, and I'm going to on my paper, I'm going to come over far enough over to the side here where you can still see what I'm doing, and I'm going to draw that straight line, just to give me a reference line. This is a straight line over here. It'll be the right edge of the drawing, and I keep my hand along the edge of I got my paper on a clipboard. I kind of keep my right hand steady. And now I also want to take this angle here at the bottom. And what I do is I kind of measure that a little bit, and I got that angle, bring it down, and I'm going to just put a faint line over here. I know you can't see that, and you don't have to see it. Just show you what I do to line up. Now, the other line is more important, is the one across the objects. So I take the pencil, lay it there, and that's the angle I want for the for that bottom line of the square box. So I'm going to get that line there, bring it down to the table, bring it over here, and I'm going to get that line in. And it's going to come out, goes from that corner over here. I'm going to skip over this area and then continue on with that line. Again, these are construction lines just to get started. So I've got the vertical line, and I've got the angled line, the one I like, and that lines up just about right. Okay, now to get the object now on this side. So I'm really going to be painting, or painting. I'm going to be drawing from this side over, which is this section of the picture, just this section here. So I'm going to forget what's over here. It's not important. This is the important thing is right here. All right. So I'm going to take a couple of quick measurements. I'm going to say, let me measure up here the top part where you see the division here. There's a little ring around it. So I'll take that and let me kind of measure. That's 1, 2, 3. It's about a third of the way down. About a third of the way down. And also the angle of the picture is also important. I'll get that angle there. So it's got a slope to it, about like that. And so I'll start that line in. And it goes down past the, it goes behind. You don't see it. It's kind of behind the two objects here, but I'm just kind of estimating that. Okay. And from that angle, I've got the other angle over here. I got the angle of the spout, or the top of the, so I can put that in. Get that angle on the paper. Okay.
We have a question.
Question?
Do you keep your eye on the object or on what you're drawing?
Both. Not at the same time. But what I'm doing, when I get the angle of what I want, I come over to the paper and I have a reference line down here, and that's what I draw. I draw a line, and it's a construction line. I really haven't done anything. I just make my lines light, and when I'm happy with it, then I'll draw it in darker. But right now I'm just making construction lines. And they're going to cross over. I may want to change them, I may want to add to them or whatever, but I got construction lines on. This line here is just a construction line. The angle here for the top is just a construction. Okay, now I got to get the back side. Now the width of the, let's see, let's take a look. I got this safe there, and so the width is not as quite as, I'm going to measure compared to that angle, or that height to that one there. It's a little bit shorter. So come over here, a little bit shorter. All right, so I'm going to put that, I'm going to make that about right there. Okay. Now, starting with the back of this, now I got to get the back of the picture. It's pretty straight, so I'm just going to start that way. And this has got a slight angle to it. It's not straight up and down. Got a slight angle. So I measure from that, and I pretty eyeball it in. Down to the handle top, okay? And now, the next thing I can do now is I can try to, this horizontal here is pretty straight. That's the little curve. It's the little, it's like the little design on the, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Okay, now the top of the picture, I think I'll try to get that also. The top of the picture, I'm going to have to, now, I'm going to use, I got to get part of the handle in. I got to get part of the handle. Here at the top, I'm looking right here. I want this line here. And I'm going to do I'm just going to use, I'm looking at the object, and I'm doing contour drawing, because that's a straight line, and then this goes up, and then it starts to turn. Okay, and about right here, before, just past where it's straight, it starts to curl over here. So now I'm using a little observation now, and I'm using I'm observing. It's not a perfect straight line; it's got a curve to it. So I'm going to curve this up So I'm using contour drawing. Contour drawings, I'm looking at the object and I'm following my eyes and I'm looking back at this. Now I'm looking back at my drawing and double checking. Okay. Then this goes around. It curves around and goes back down about halfway. It curls down and goes about halfway and starts to come in. It's not a straight line. It's a smooth line that goes in. And then there's a top. There's a top of this. There's a lip. Let's see. I'll draw it this way. Yeah, I think I'll draw it this way. I'll draw it this way. Okay. There's several choices there to do this. Okay, that's roughed in there right now. I might want to change that when I get down to the bottom. Now the curve on this now. It's if I look at the width, I'm going to check the width of the object here and look at the handle. It's about the same size. I'm checking this width here, this narrow width here compared to the handle. It's about the same size. Okay, so I can get the outside of it. All right, I'll get the outside edge. So I compare this angle, this distance here, and from here to the outside edge of the handle. That's about the same as the width. So that's what I'm comparing again. From the inside to the outside of the handle. From the inside to the outside of the handle is the same as this. Okay, I got that. Okay, now I got to curve this line, and it goes. Now it's a pretty good circular shape. It goes above the lip of the. It goes above the lip of the pitcher, so it's going to be up here somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that in. That's a nice curve, almost a circle. So it's not an oval. It's a circle. Now this line here now goes straight up the back, goes up straight, and then starts to curve. This. Now you notice this is really neat. The inside of the handle now comes in. The inside of the handle now comes into the top. That's the neat part about drawing something at an angle. This part here will come in. Now let's see. I want to make sure now to make my drawing a little more neater. There's an edge. There's an edge on the. There's an edge on the front side of this. So let me get that in there. That's important. That's a characteristic of this handle. Is this edge. Okay, now I'm really eyeballing. I'm looking at that, and this is straight down here. It's straight, so I don't have a curve anymore. It's a straight line, almost a straight line down to almost to the base, not to the base, but to the pitcher. Then this line around here comes around here, and it's just about parallel. All right, so I'm getting a pretty good likeness now of the shape. Okay, I like what's going on. And then I've got to get another. Yeah, like this one here. This will come around. This will go up a little higher. Okay. Now I want to get the edge. I want to get the edge of that. See, I don't want to go inside there. I got to come out. So I'm going to draw a parallel line along this edge. That gives that front edge of the handle. Very quickly, just go stay parallel line of that shape. It goes on up around, and this here comes around. Okay, go just kind of smooth that in. Now this one comes around the back. There's an edge on that also. Is it the back edge behind? I'm going to follow that now. I'm going to follow that down very quickly. It reminds me of a question mark. You look at a question mark this way, it comes down. It looks like make a question mark, and here's the the ball is the bottom of the question mark. Isn't that cool? Okay, all right. So I think I got the picture pretty well where I want it. Okay. Now this larger shape here starts at, I'll start at the handle. It's really circular. Now it intersects down here. Again, I'm contour drawing, and I'm doing I'm going to draw a circle. And if you have to do it, you can cut it in quarters this way and this way, and you can do it. You can get a section at a time, or you can try to give it just take a shot at it and get a circular shape. Now that's pretty good right there, just to get an idea of what it looks like. Okay, that's a shape. All right, and then the smaller circular object. Here's where the overlap is, right here. This smaller object goes behind this one, so you can see the intersection. It's right here, and it's in front of the picture, not quite to the wall. There's a gap in there, so I can kind of observe where that is, see how far out it goes, and then it comes around. I get the bottom part here. It comes behind the wall, this larger shape, and circular also. Now, let's pick up some of the shadows now. That's the next important thing, shadow shapes. There's a shadow here from the small, right here, really dark area, so I can get that in. Straight line. And there's a shadow here up to the wall. And it goes, again, I get the angle. Depending on the angle of the light, where the light source is, that's the angle of this shadow. So I got that, and I got it lined up. So then I can just eyeball that in. Okay, now it's very hard to see in a photograph, but there's also a small shadow over here it's behind the picture. This is the dark area. Then there's a small line here that goes back to here, because there's the shadow. You can see there's a little gap in here. Okay. All right, now.
Just received a thumbs up. Very nice.
Yeah. Now that to me is the shape of the picture, and I think it turned out pretty nice. Now let's go. Now I'm not going to spend a lot of time on detail on this, because I can do more. I'm going to show you some things that I've worked ahead of to give you a little more direction. Now, by sighting in angles and then measuring relative sizes, then you come up with the shape, and you come up with the actual size itself, and the position of this object here. Now, this shape here. Now, there's a nice little shape here on this object here, and I don't even name what it is. I just say, okay, here's a circular shape, and here's a curve, and that's what you think about. You don't think about what the object is. You just look at it and say, okay, there's a shape, and it's a curve. It comes down. It comes down about right here at the bottom of it. So it's a curvular shape, just like the object. And then it curves back up, and it winds up over here. You see the intersection of the base. It's about right there. All right, so it comes down in a circular motion. So I can pretty well get that in. So there's the shape of that. Okay. Okay, now the marks on here, again, what I do here is I go in and pick a couple of these. You can see I'll go make a couple. There's a couple little dots. And these all make different angles. But you work out a pattern. You work out a pattern. You can see the angle here changes as you go around. Okay? And the angle this way. So that's a very interesting little exercise, is to follow that around and get the right distancing and so forth. I'm not going to do it all the way. I'll show you something in a minute what I did. Okay, now over here there's also texture on this, and what you can do there is that these are like little dimples, the little dimples on this object here, this little texture. So you can just start picking up one, and it comes down a straight line, and you pick up a pattern. You come right straight down. Just look at the shape, straight pattern. And the one across doesn't line up with the same one. They have these little dimples, and the one on this side, they don't line up exactly. But it'll give you the hint of what that is. Okay, it's got dimples on it. All right. Now there's a if we look at the shadow pattern, there's a shadow pattern on this object here. And let me just draw those in real quickly, just a shadow pattern. This has got a shadow pattern that goes about like this and comes down. It's about 1/3 of the subject would be in shadow. About 1/3 of the shape. There's a shadow on this. Now there's reflected light here. If you look at this subject here, light reflected on this, so this would have a double. The reflected light on this, and then there's a band of shadow here on this. From the light coming from the light source. And reflected light is right there. You see it on this ball right here. Reflected light. Okay, and then up here, before I go any further, let me show you something I've already done. I did one before class to get started. I did this drawing exercise before. Now here's a drawing I did before class, and I wanted to show this to you. It's just about the same as I just did here on live, okay? And you can see I got the shape on the shape of the pitcher. I got the ball. I got the marks on the ball, and I got the dimples on the small ball. Okay, just what I just showed you. I got the angle of the shadow. Okay, then what I did on a separate piece of paper, I did the drawing of the shadow. I did the drawing of the shadow, so that I could go ahead and line this up here. The drawing I did, so I did a separate drawing. Started with a straight line, got the angle of the bottom, and then drew in the shadow. Drew in the shadow of the object. Okay. Now here's something I wanted to kind of show you what I did. Put those two together. What I did was cut this off here. I married these together so that they lined up, and there is the complete drawing side by side. I did it in parts. Okay, so I did the drawing of the object. See if I can get the whole thing on there. Let me bring it down. Okay, so there's the object up there of the picture and the picture, and there's the object of the shadow. Okay. Now the last thing I want to show you is for shading. You can see here. Let me go back to my. I don't want to mess these up, so I'm going to put those aside. We'll use the one I just did this is the one I did live. What I can do is go in here with a shading pencil, and I can start putting in some shadow. There's a little shadow here on the picture, and it goes up here, and there's a shadow inside the lip. So you can start filling those in. And there's a shadow up here on the handle. Everything everything is out of the direct sunlight or out of the direct lighting will have a shadow on it. There's a shadow down here on this object. So you can start shading those in. And the actual shadow itself. If you look at the shadow, it's not a hard edge. It's like it's got. And what I did with that one, I just kind of make a fuzzy edge. So I came in here with a shadow. I came in with the shading, and then I stayed away from the actual line. And so when I went in with my blender, I could go in with a blender and I could go ahead and start putting these values in, the shading. Okay, take the blender and I go in and I blend in those shadows. Okay, up here I only did portion, but so the edges would be fuzzy, and so that you start shading it behind a little, not as close on the edge, but leave a little bit of it open so you can get a fuzzy edge on the shadow. Okay, and of course this area down here for the shadow itself. Okay, and go in there and shade that in. Okay, now for the background, it's just all dark. And what I did there, I just go in and you start working on a shadow pattern or the background. This would be dark all the way, and I'll do one little section here. So I'm pressing a little harder on the pencil to get a darker mark. But what I'm doing now is I'm putting in the background. This is all background color, dark. Okay, then I go in my blender and I go in and I shade that in. Okay. And of course you take your time doing that, but you just do one step at a time and then back away and look at it and do it again. Okay, so that's how you would shade in something. I'd give a three-dimensional and a background and so forth. And okay, well let me show you. I'll show you one I did. I finished one off. Okay, there's the drawing. Here's the drawing completed. I drew the. I drew out just like I did it, just like I showed you in the demo. I drew out the shapes, and then I went and shaded them in. And you can see the drawing. I mean, you can see the objects there in the photo, and now you can see the drawing itself. Okay. Bring it up nice and close. Okay. And I didn't bother putting in the marks on the ball. I figured if I want to finish this off, I could do it later. But I already know how to do that. I got the angle of the ball. I've already practiced it on this one. Okay. You can see the thread marks where it's put in there, so that can be done. All right, so those are the completed steps of the drawing. As I said before, what I did is I simplified it. I knew it wouldn't be time to do the whole drawing and finish it off the way I'd like to, but I wanted to show you the stages. I wanted to show you the stages that can be done. Pick one part, do part of it, and then put it aside, and then do the second part, and then eventually put it together. Okay, so there you can make a single drawing out of several parts instead of trying to finish it one. So as a demo, I wanted to show you how I would have drawn this up and how I would have completed it. So let's go back to my main camera. Okay. Thank you. I see a thumbs up there. Thank you for your comments. So I appreciate that. The drawing itself takes a little time. The 30-minute sketch I usually try to put in was a little too short of a time to do everything in detail. But I wanted to share enough with you how to get it started, at least how to do the setup, get the setup ready, how to get started on the drawing, and then how to finish off each part. And as I said before, I cut it in half and did part A, and then did part B, and then I shaded it in carefully. And that's how you do it. And you take your time and you be very careful with your lines and double check everything. And of course the eraser comes in once in a while when you want to clean up part of the edges and so forth. And that works every time. So I'll be back again next week at 7:30 p.m. for Simply Drawing with Everett. And I'll be back on Thursday also at 2 p.m. for Everett's Watercolors. So if you want a little painting instruction on watercolors, tonight we worked on design. I'll probably work on some more design steps next week also, because that's always an interesting subject to be involved in. And I release a video on Sunday in the afternoon. It gets in there. I put it early in the morning, so it'll be there on Sunday on Anyone Can Draw with One Line Only. And that's kind of catching on. I think a lot of people like that. And I think you'll like the one I showed this week also. So it'll be a video, so you'll see an announcement. If you're logged in, and if you've registered or subscribed to my channel, then you'll get a notification of the video. And if you have a question about that or want some information, just give me a comment on one of the videos so I can get back to you. So thank you for watching, and give me a thumbs up and a like, and pass the word on that I'll be back next Thursday. It's 7:30 p.m. for drawing, and I'll be on earlier at 2 p.m. for watercolors. And on Sunday, I'll have a little how to do a little drawing with just one line. So, and I have lots of videos for you to check out and look at, and do other things on my website, everettswatercolors.com, and also Everett on Facebook. Thank you. Okay, so you all take care and be safe, and I'll see you next week. So, see you on my next video. Bye.